Hey guys, today I thought that I would try something a little different and voice over one of my training sessions with one of the rescue horses. I'm by no means a professional, but I just really like training horses, and I thought that it'd be interesting to go over, what I do and why I do it. And I'm interested in hearing, what you guys do and what you would do differently, or, your thoughts on this. So this horse we're working with right now is Catalina. She's a about 6-7-year-old Mustang mare from the Yakima Reservation. She came to the rescue totally feral. We halter broke her. I worked with her for a few months, and then she was adopted out. And we didn't get super far in those 4 months. She was very flighty. If she didn't like something, she would bolt backwards on the rope, and she would keep backing until she ran into a fence or until, she settled down. But it took a while for her to learn that she could relax and give to pressure, because she's just such a dominant mare, I guess you could say. But she settled down quite a bit. She still has some of that energy, but it's not quite so nervous, which is good. I don't mind horses with energy. So she's been saddled a few times, but she's never been ridden. You can halter her. That was one of the big things, was getting her to the point where you could go up and halter her and catch her. But she comes up to me pretty well, and I can halter her, and as you can see, I can lunge her. As you saw a few seconds ago, this is her first time on a long lunge line as opposed to just a lead rope. So she was a little bit confused. She kept trying to turn in, but you can see now she's going nicely. Here, I was trying to get her to walk. The horse behind that big solid wooden fence, that's her pasture mate, and he was throwing a fit because he was alone, because he's a baby. So she was a little bit nervous from that, and she just kept trying to trot. So we're working on getting her to walk, which she's doing now pretty nicely. And anyway, as I was mentioning, she kept wanting to turn in. Like you can see kind of there, she wants to turn in, but she kept going. And when she tries to turn in, I sort of just point and make my body open to the direction I want her to go. And then I take my whip kind of behind her. I'm just holding a dressage whip. I'm not using a long lunge whip. And we just press her forward into the direction we want to go. And eventually she learns that even just a point can get her to go in the direction I want, and which will eventually lead to Liberty, which I'd really like to try with her, because she's great in a round pen, moving off of me. But a lunge line is a different story. Here's just another example of me asking her to keep going forward when she tries to turn in. I point and use my whip and make my body open to where she wants to go. And then in these next clips, you're going to see I try to get her to canter. And I've never cantered her on the lunge line before. Like I said, it's her first time, but also in the round pen. The round pen we used to use was small enough that we could only walk and trot. And, we just never had the chance to canter her by my command. So, she wasn't quite sure. She just trotted really fast for a while. But eventually, we just keep applying pressure, but also at the same time, you don't want her to just be trotting super fast till she jumps into that canter. You want to make it a very distinct moment for that leap into the canter from the 2-beat to the 3-beat. And, eventually she gets it, and she gets maybe 2 or 3 strides, and I stop it at that, because I want her to understand that, you put in all that effort to hop into that canter. I'm going to let you relax because you did the right thing. You can see how easily she walks towards me after I ask her to stop, which is something that's really good. It shows that she's joined up with me, and she understands that, being with me is really the best option as opposed to working. So, she walks up, and I give her some scratches on her forehead. She likes to lift her head up really high when haltering or when she doesn't know something. She's a very high-headed horse. So, I just scratch her, and I didn't put the clip in, but later we worked on getting her to drop her head. Like I said, she's very high-headed, so it's something to work on. And here, after she's all warmed up, I just have the jump stands on their sides. If they were upright, I don't want to get my lunge line caught, so I just drop them on their sides, and then she sort of gets the impression of having something on either side and going between them without the risk of catching my lunge line. And I just have two poles on the ground. They're just split rail that I've painted bright colors. And I was really happy with how she went forward. You know, she didn't look at him, didn't ask any questions. She just was like, yes ma'am, I'm going over these poles. And that's really great. She walked and trotted over them great. It didn't even take long. I mean, you'll see later, she's jumping a vertical by the end of the session. And the session was only about 20 minutes long. So, you know, she's just really trusting and really brave here, which is a big improvement over how she used to be when she first was halter broke and gentled. So that's something I'm really proud of. And, you know, we go over the poles a few times, each direction, because you want to work each side of their brain equally, or, you know, as much as each side needs. But her, you know, we just go each side a few times, and we're just trotting over it, and she has a very big trot, so she doesn't even notice the poles, because she has such big steps. After she was going comfortably over the two poles on the ground, I raised one side of one of the rails, and I know that some people may argue that this, you know, teaches the horse to jump lopsided, but really she wasn't even jumping yet. She's just trotting over them. So I think that it helps her, you know, get accustomed to going over something with some height without, you know, something as intimidating as a cross rail, which to her could be really intimidating because, like I said, she has a tendency to be sort of nervous. So I just wanted it to be really, you know, relaxing. And you can see, you know, she bumped that rail, tripped a little bit, but it's okay. She has to learn that the rails they're gonna fall down or they might twist or something underneath there, and she has to deal with that. And, you know, she went over it fine the next time, so she learned her lesson and she went over it comfortably. Then I raised the other side of the pole to make a little cross rail for her. There she got a little wonky in the approach, which was kind of my fault. I didn't get her in there straight enough. But, you know, she was still good. She had a little look at it, nothing major, and hopped right over it. Here, you know, she has to lift her knees a little higher, trot a little bigger. She could just jump over, but she chooses to trot over it, which is fine, you know. She'll get there eventually to jumping over it. And, again, you know, she brushed it with her hoof. It didn't fall down, which is fine. I'd rather, you know, she does that now with the little fences than on the ground, as opposed to when I'm on her. You know, she learns that brushing the rails is okay and that it's not a big deal, as opposed to, you know, another horse that could brush the rail and then spook. You know, I want her to understand that the rails will move and she has to be careful of that. For Caddy, I bumped her up to a vertical the exact same day because I thought that she could use the challenge. And as you can see, you know, she just trots right over it, and that's the good thing. It's low enough she can trot over it. But the next go around, I added more pressure behind her, and my goal wasn't to get her into a trot or into a canter. It was just to get her to attack the jumps more. As you can see, you know, she popped over it, she tucked her knees up and jumped. Wasn't the prettiest thing in the world, but she jumped, which is all that matters. So you can't see it because I didn't frame the camera right, but I called her in and I petted her and gave her lots of praise, told her how good she was because she jumped. And then the next go around, I, you know, just kept adding more and more pressure until she figured out that, you know, these verticals, you're not supposed to trot over them. See, there she jumps, which is great. And then we just do this a few more times until she gets the idea. Notice on this go around, she actually knocks the jump down, which is fine. You know, she just brushes it with her front leg and she just keeps going, which is good. You know, she didn't get flustered with it, she just kept going. And I had her jump this just one more time just to make sure she kept her confidence. You know, I don't want to put her right back up to the vertical if she wasn't feeling comfortable. And, you know, so we just jumped that low one, and then I go back and I put it upright, and you'll see that once she knocks it down and she realizes that it's going to take a little more power to get over that fence, she gives us this really beautiful jump. And we ended pretty much on that jump. I think we did one more. But really, no, we ended on a great note, and I think that with some more training, she's going to be a great little jumper for someone.